Archery. Continuing our release series, we're going to talk about probably the most popular release that is used by 90% of all hunters, bow hunters especially, in the world, is the index finger trigger release. You'll rarely see there's not a lot of pros shooting this actually on the tour. There's 2 or 3 that still do it really well. I'm going to go over the reasons why here in just a minute. This here is the True Ball Beast XT, just came out from them. This is a hook style release. If you look here, it's just a hook. There is no caliper to be used at all. You can do this without even looking at the bow, where it just hooks on the loop and fires that way. And then this here is the new Recon made by Scott. This is a single caliper release. The reason we call it a single caliper, when we pull the jaw back, we have one caliper, one part of the jaw that opens. We have a static jaw on this side, it doesn't move. It doesn't move at all. 2 really popular releases. I tell you, the toughest thing about shooting this release accurately is because of the lack of punching. You've got to learn how to shoot this without punching the trigger. We see most of our archers out here will sit back and hover over top of this sucker and then slam it closed to get the release to fire. Really not the proper way to shoot this release, and it's really confusing for a lot of archers because, you know, as a trigger shooter, especially with a rifle, I don't think that they're shooting the rifle the same way, which is slamming the trigger. But it's a very common practice out there, and really just the improper way to shoot the release. We here at the shop, we prefer the buckles for the straps. They also come in Velcro straps. The reason I don't like the Velcro straps is they have a tendency to be able to change a lot. No matter how tight you strap them up, you can go full draw, you put a lot of tension and pressure on there. If that Velcro starts to give a little bit, it makes a cracking sound, can really spook the game animal that you're hunting. And number 2, just getting in the right spot every single time. The buckle seems to be more consistent in getting this wrapped around the wrist. And we're going to go over here in just a minute when we go to shoot this to talk about why that is so important. So once again, prefer the buckles. I actually also prefer the barrels, but these releases also do come with webbing straps, which for a lot of archers is the way to go. So anyways, we're going to go shoot these and show you how to properly shoot them. Okay, now we're going to shoot the index trigger release. A couple of things. Number 1, how tight to get this strap. I always tell my archers, you want to get this strap as tight as you can get it around the wrist without cutting off circulation, of course. It's probably the number 2 thing that I see when it comes to improper fit of a trigger release. When you get this too loose, this trigger will ride down your hand and giving it way too much travel, because when we draw this, we actually are going to end up getting about a ½ inch extra travel on the release when we get to full draw. The number 2 thing is the length of the throat of the release. You know, quite frankly, I don't know why they give so much adjustment on these, and actually True Ball's done a good job of keeping this extremely short. I've seen some of these that have 5 or 6 inches of travel, and quite frankly, what it's causing you is to get out there and try to shoot off the end of your fingertip on that barrel or the trigger, and it's really just an improper way to shoot. It's too long of a length to pull, not allowing us to get over top of that trigger deep. One of the keys to shooting this release accurately and properly is to get at least into the first knuckle, preferably the second knuckle on the index finger, to shoot the fire of the release. Quite frankly, I always tell people you got to look at the finger and treat it like a lever. Once you get it in position, that finger should stay still and not move. And by me pulling back with the elbow, my motion is trying to pull my hand through the strap, try to pull the hand through the strap. And that about ½ inch of travel will fire that release every single time without moving this index finger. So once again, if you've watched the release videos, I'm using back tension, rear movement with the elbow to fire all 3 of these type of releases. So we're going to demonstrate real quick and show you what that looks like. So I'm going to load the arrow. I think one of the most important things, once again, is how we position that hand. As you can see, it's really short in there, so I will have to actually use my middle finger to load this release. There we go. I'm in the strap. Okay, get everything back behind it, and I'm going to draw just like with any other release. I'm going to come in here, pre-aiming, and getting that finger deep around, as you can see there. I'm completely covering it. Now I'm going to start driving this back by pulling with the rear elbow and pulling and pulling and pulling until the release fires, like so. Once again, not seeing that trigger movement at all whatsoever. I'm going to demonstrate the improper way, and what we see most of in the shop here. Most guys come in here and they'll punch this release extremely hard, making it fire, and it's a really bad habit to get into. So we're going to draw back, and I'll see them hover over top of the trigger like so, and they'll sit there, and I'm going to try to do it and punch like that. As you can see, there was no backward motion. I was not using my back to fire that release. It was 100% on command with my index finger, which is really the improper way to shoot it. So one more time, the right way. I'm going to close it, get it in the loop, get everything behind the trigger. Okay, I'm going to draw back and shoot it.
3 weeks later.
So as you can see, I was just pulling through the release. My finger wasn't moving at all. I'm trying to get that elbow back to make sure that my trigger finger is not triggering, but pulling through the shot. Really important when you're shooting these trigger releases. So I hope you enjoyed that video. It's going to be, really important if you want to master this release, especially to work on that technique that I showed and talked about. It'll make you a heck of a lot better archer to keep you from punching these triggers, because it's really not what they're designed for. So make sure and comment, call us, text us, whatever. Let us know what you think if you want to see something else about the videos, and we can get in this. There's really a lot more information we can share with it, but we hope you enjoyed it. Make sure and tune in for us on future stuff, because we're going to have a lot of tech tips going out there. Thanks a lot for watching.